This is Dateline Drought.com from Farm Progress Companies, presented by Genuity Drought Guard Hybrids. Hello, everyone. As we join you on this broadcast thinking about drought, we're thinking about what's going on in South America now. Because of our drought in the United States this year, that South American crop has to be a big one, has to be a good one to fill the void. And the reports coming out of Brazil about a slower planting pace are quite interesting. Dr. Mike Cordonier, the soybean and corn advisor, reported to us that the soybean acreage in Brazil now is only 38% planted. That's 10 percentage points behind the pace at this time a year ago. That, Mike says, means that the likelihood of a record soybean crop in Brazil is diminishing with each passing day. Now, it's the opposite that is true in Argentina. They've had too much rain. There, Mike says, some of those fields that have had as much as 2 feet of water on them will take a month to dry out. So we'll be watching very closely what happens in those two major South American grain-producing nations. Back here, because of our drought this year, one major barge line reported its business was down substantially. American Commercial Lines, based in Jeffersonville, Indiana, reported the number of barges they moved in the third quarter of this year was down about 20%. Not only were they moving fewer barges because of the drought, there were delays on the river system, and they were loading those barges to a lighter level too, and that impacted the earnings for American Commercial Lines. One more drought story. The University of Colorado taking a look at the drought 10 years ago and what happened in that period of time. The drought dramatically spread the pine beetle infestation of the West, resulting in many more thousands of square miles of trees affected than would have been without the drought. We hope you'll drop in here often for updates at DatelineDrought.com, presented by Genuity Drought Guard Hybrids. Have a great week.
It's election day in the U.S., but the big news out of Washington the grain market is waiting for doesn't happen until Friday. That's when USDA releases its latest report on production, supply, and demand. More estimates from analysts are being put out, with the average guess not seeing big changes overall. For corn, the average so far puts the crop at 10.6 billion bushels, down around 100 million from October. Though yields could be slightly higher, acreage may be down. Still, corn ending stocks are expected to go higher, with the average guess at 635 million, up 16 million from October. That's close to our farm futures estimate, though I think both harvested acres and yields will be lower, ultimately reducing the size of the crop by 275 million bushels. USDA may not be ready to go that low immediately, however, but may prefer to wait until more data is in for January. For soybeans, the average guess so far sees a 40 million bushel increase in production from October to 2.9 billion due to slightly higher yields and harvested acres. My estimate is just 13 million bushels higher. As a result, while the average guess sees soybean ending stocks up 2 million bushels, I think a 10 million bushel cut to 120 million bushels is in order. The average guess from the trade so far sees wheat ending stocks higher, but only by 11 million bushels to 665 million. I think weak exports could boost carryout another 17 million bushels to 682 million. Still, the market's focus for wheat is increasingly on new crop due to deteriorating conditions on the plains. Initial worries focused on slow emergence on the northern half of the hard red winter wheat growing region. But Monday's crop progress report showed the crop getting worse on the southern plains as well after a week of dry weather. Any market response to the election may be short-lived, with concerns about the European debt crisis potentially in play on Wednesday. That's when the Greek Parliament is due to hold the first of two votes, crucial for it to receive more rescue aid. Without that funds, the country might be forced to abandon the euro. Keep up with the drought situation across the country by visiting www.datelinedrought.com.